Good day, everyone! Welcome to Rock's Cooking Journal. Today, gumawa naman tayo ng red velvet cake. At kung plano nyo mag-prepare ng special dinner on Valentine's Day, this is just the perfect dessert. Well, because it's moist, and you will also love the chocolate cream cheese frosting. So let's get started! First, i-grease muna natin yung two 7-inch cake pans with butter. At lalagyan din natin ng parchment paper to ensure that the cakes release easily. Now, let's make the cake batter. Combine 2½ cups of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder, a teaspoon of baking soda. I-whisk natin ito until just combined. Then, isip natin to make sure everything is well blended at para maging soft and fluffy yung cake natin. Set aside muna natin to. In a large mixing bowl, combine half a cup of softened butter and 1½ cups of sugar. I-mix natin using an electric hand mixer until the sugar is moistened with butter. I'm using salted butter so there's no need to add salt. Kung unsalted butter yung gagamitin nyo, you need to add half a teaspoon of salt. Now we're gonna add the eggs one at a time and mix until well blended. Then, add 2 teaspoons of vanilla and imimix ulit natin. While mixing, ilagay na din natin yung 3/4 cups canola oil or vegetable oil. I have here 1 cup of evaporated milk at room temperature and I'm mixing in a teaspoon of white vinegar. Ngayon, ihahalo na natin dito at i-blend natin until smooth and well incorporated. At this point, I will be adding all the dry ingredients and beat on low speed. Scrape down the bowl to make sure that our batter is well blended. Now it's time to make this into a red velvet cake batter. Kaya lalagyan natin ng 2½ tablespoons of red food coloring. Mix this until the color is well blended into the batter. Scrape natin yung bowl to even out the color. You may add or reduce the amount of food coloring, depende sa gusto nyo. Now divide the batter evenly into your prepared pans. You can use a digital scale kung meron kayo nito to equally divide the batter. Pero dahil wala kami nun, gagamit lang ako ng measuring cup to divide the cake batter. Gumawa din tayo ng 2 cupcakes. Gagamitin natin to para sa cake decoration natin mamaya. Using my preheated oven toaster, let's bake this at 180 degrees Celsius for about 35 minutes, or until a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean. Allow this to cool down until you can safely touch the pan. I-flip lang natin yung cake pans and it will come out easily. Then, alisin natin yung parchment paper and let it cool completely while we're making our chocolate cream cheese frosting. Next, tutunawin natin ngayon yung white chocolate sa ibabaw ng simmering water in low heat. Haluin natin ito hanggang mag-melt completely at maging smooth. Hayaan natin mag-cool down ito while we prepare our cream cheese frosting. Sa isang mixing bowl, I-beat natin yung half a cup of salted butter in high speed hanggang maging smooth ito. Then, add your softened cream cheese. I-beat natin ito on medium-high speed until it's well combined. Scrape down the bowl to make sure you don't get chunks of cream cheese and butter. Now, we need 2 cups powdered sugar. Ilalagay natin ito one at a time and mix on low speed until it's well incorporated. Kapag nailagay na natin lahat ng sugar, i-beat pa natin in high speed for a minute or 2. Then, ilagay na din natin yung melted white chocolate at i-beat natin until the frosting is frothy and silky. If you're using unsalted butter, you may add a pinch of salt. But me, I don't have to kasi salted butter na yung ginamit ko. Now, let's assemble. Ilagay na natin yung first cake layer dito sa cake board. Get about a third of the frosting at spread natin evenly onto the cake surface. Ngayon, ilagay na natin yung second cake layer at i-crumb coat natin o lalagyan muna natin ng thin layer ng frosting all around the sides para ma-even out yung crumbly sides ng cake natin. Then, yung ibabaw naman ng cake. Add a little bit more to evenly coat the cake for the final coating. Use a spatula to smoothen the cake surface. And make an upward stroke to create a polished look all around the sides. Then, i-chill muna natin to for a few minutes. Ito naman yung cupcake na ginawa natin kanina. I-grate natin ito to make crumbs at ipang-decorate natin sa cake. Sprinkle natin yung cake crumbs sa top border ng cake. Then, i-toss natin yung crumbs sa sides to create a crummy skirt. Wipe off excess crumbs to clean the cake board. I have here a few toasted chopped walnuts. Lagyan na din natin yung ibabaw at yung sides ng cake. Itatabi lang natin sa cake crumbs yung walnuts for an added decoration and texture. Wow, nakaka-happy naman kapag nagawa mo na siya. Hindi naman talaga kasi ko baker. Kaya achievement na para sa akin yan. I-chill muna natin ito until the frosting is firm and easy to slice. Ayan, na-expose na yung pie plate ko. Wala kasi akong turntable kaya ito lang yung ginamit ko. Here's our red velvet cake with chocolate cream cheese frosting. O ito na yung mga ingredients para makagawa na rin kayo sa Valentine's Day. Thanks for watching and see you in my next cooking journal.